family. How is everybody today? I am doing just fine. Okay, so how's everybody today? Hope you're well. I had a good day in college basketball yesterday. Let's see if that continues. Now, considering I haven't watched one game all year and just started watching in the tournament, it's amazing. Anyway, I believe the idiots are moving out this week, so I'll be very happy about that. They're so noisy. I've lived in apartments before and I've never had this problem. At 2 a.m, they're up walking around, waking me up. You shouldn't hear the people above you. That's just, they got to be doing it on purpose. In my thoughts, I mean, I wouldn't be here. This is my 4th year. I'm leaving, but I would never have heard this before. I wouldn't have stayed here for 4 years. But it is a very noisy apartment. Too much. You hear them walking up and walking around, and he's on the phone. It's crazy. Nothing makes sense there. All right. So what do we got today? Well, we got NCAA, we got NBA, we got baseball, but I won't pick it yet because I got to get to the pitchers. So I got to wait about a week or two till we can see who's the pitchers. Whatchamacallit's on the Mets now. Bo Bichette, he's there. So we got to see what Toronto looks like. There's some pitching moves. There's some hitting moves. So we gotta see what's really going on before we just start picking. So let's go to college basketball. We'll start there. We went 2-0 yesterday. Happy times. Again, I think that Arizona is going to win it all. Whenever you have the best offense and the best defense, that's what you look for in an A team, and there it is. So yesterday, Illinois 71-59. I had Illinois under 139, and it was 130, so we were good by 9 points. They also covered the 6.5, as I thought. In Arizona, I liked them minus 5.5, and they won by 15, so that was good. The total on the game was 152.5. And it was 30. It was 143. So it was way under. Again, no fix there. I mean, it couldn't be. They won by 15, lane 5, and the total was 153, and they scored 143. So there's no fix there. Just Arizona was the better team. So we hit Illinois under. We hit Arizona lane 5.5. So 2-0. Very good. Worst we can do is 2-2. Today we got the Coach Bows, Michigan, lane 7.5 and 146.5, and Michigan went up to 8.5, and the total stayed 146.5. I like Michigan minus 7.5 here. Tennessee, just I don't think they played anybody, and I just don't think they're all that. Michigan, I think will pour it on here. So lay 7.5, 2 units. And then UConn and Duke. Duke 5.5. I think that's a big number here. Total 133. I think I like the under 133, but the bet is take Connecticut and 5.5. I just think Connecticut and 5.5 is a W. I don't think Duke's all that strong, and the way Connecticut beat Michigan State, good defensive team. Duke, I don't know. You lost your coach. You don't have the guy anymore, Coach K. So does this guy know what he's doing? I don't know. But I think Duke was the weakest 1 seed with Florida. Florida should never have been a 1 seed. So Michigan, I think, is good. And then I think Connecticut is a live dog. I think this spread should be like 2, 5.5. I'll take 5.5 in Connecticut. They got that one guy who can score, and we'll go with him. So those are the picks, Michigan and Connecticut. No totals today, although I do like the under in the Connecticut game, but I like Connecticut better. I mean, they're just a strong team. All right, let's go to the NBA. Yesterday, we went 1-1. Let's go. San Antonio over 226. Doesn't get there. Milwaukee scores 95 with the guy. I didn't want to lay 17.5, but 17.5 was good. I mean, go figure that one out. Here's a Steve Castle drops a triple-double as Spurs dominate. I don't know who's that, right? I couldn't name what college he went to, right? So here's Steve Castle, and they win by 27-5. They win by 32 points on the road, laying 17.5. So we're scared to play big road favorites, and yet here's a big road favorite that wins. Is it just Milwaukee's quit? Maybe we bet against Milwaukee, sort of like how we bet in the NFL against Tennessee and against some of these other weak teams, Miami, the Jets. I mean, maybe that's what Milwaukee is without Winnebago. Now, I didn't play. I played the game over, didn't get there because Milwaukee didn't score. So now we got to, without Winnebago, we have to look at and go, well, they're not going to score. They're going to be a Z team. They're going to have no defense and no offense without their big guy. The Pistons, 109-87. This game was actually on TV for some reason. I don't know why. I think it was the ESPN game, but they actually put it on ABC. And I watched about 5 minutes before I fell asleep with this game. It's so boring, the NBA. There's no excitement. It's just a bunch of three-point shots. It's like, give me a break. And most of them are missed. So I realized, oh, it's the analytics. We've got to play analytic. We can't play our game. We can't get the ball into Kareem. We got to move Kareem out and shoot 30-footers, and we make about 2 and 10. So the Pistons. So I see Minnesota. Anthony Edwards is out, and some other guy is out, which I don't know about. So I wouldn't have bet Minnesota had I known these were injured. So if I give you a pick, please check the injuries. I don't really have the time to check the injuries yet. Like today in college, I don't know if anybody's injured. I didn't know if anybody was injured yesterday, but we went 2-0. So, we'll go from there. But anyway, so Minnesota has injuries. How long will they be out is the question. So I lose that game. Minnesota plus 1.5 as a home dog. They just beat Houston. So I thought, okay, they're going to be good. But I didn't know the guy got hurt in the Houston game. Philly 118, Charlotte 114, 232, and it's a push. We have Charlotte over 232 for 2 units. So a winner there, a loser with Minnesota. It's a push. Those were the 2 bets. And the total ended up being 232.5, and they end up at 232. But the line really didn't move, so I don't know what happened there. The Sixers did win. I thought they would. I thought they would be scoring a lot, so I thought they'd get more. Atlanta 123, Charlotte 113. They win by 10. The spread was 14 and a half. I picked Atlanta, but the only two bets were Minnesota and Charlotte. Chicago, Memphis, 125, 124. Memphis wins. Memphis plus 5.5, and the over was 247.5. I did go over 246.5 with Chicago. They're an over team. And that's when the other team starts scoring. So Memphis might not score a lot against the better teams, whoever they are, but against Chicago, everybody scores. And then the last game is Utah and Phoenix. I'm over 231, and it was a 243, so I won that one. That line didn't move. 16 and a half. They win by 1929. They win by 25 points. So Phoenix laying 16 and a half at home wins by 25. So keep your eye on Phoenix and Portland when these teams go there, especially the East Coast ones. They are capable of a blowout. The Pistons are intriguing because Richie Cunningham is not playing, and yet they're still they're playing well. This Durant, this center, I don't know. I don't know any of the players. I couldn't tell you what college they went to because I'm not watching college ball because it's so boring. Now, yesterday I wanted to watch the Arizona game. It was on TBS. I couldn't watch it because my cable Spectre. And since they control everything, they don't have ESPN or TBS or TNT. So I couldn't watch the game. And I'm thinking, why is this Final 8 game not on CBS? Why would it be on a non-regular network? So you're not showing the game. It's ridiculous. You wonder why ratings are down. And I'm starting to notice a few more basketball games on NBC or ABC or whatever. At least the college tournament today's on CBS, so you can watch it. To have it off of those, you've got to be kidding. Now I know I'm older, and I grew up on 247, Fox, 50, 62. Those were the channels you got, and but like football is always on 247. 60, on Fox, ABC, NBC. That's how you grew up. And you grew up at the Pistons were always on like channel 50, which was nothing was paid. So to not show that was the first time I saw what some of the guys look like. I still don't know what Richie Cunningham looks like. I assume red hair and freckles, but I don't see that. Why you would have the National College Tournament basically the Final 8, not on regular TV. It's what are you kidding me? Well, TNT and TBS paid a lot of money. Well, yeah, but you can charge that money to CBS and then you'll get more viewers because who's watching TBS and TNT? And then they're going to lie about the ratings anyway. Like Nielsen lies about the ratings now. So it's really ridiculous. All right. So I got some really interesting poker bluffs. Daniel Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth. And it all goes to my thesis. There's a hand with Phil Hellmuth plays Mike Matusow. And he gets Mike Matusow to fold a king high flush. And you're just like, he could be the dumbest player I've ever seen. But we'll get into the bluffs and really what they're trying to tell you. All right. So let's see. Today's 3/29. We're still in March. We got April Fool's 30th, 31st. April 1st is Wednesday. My rent's due Wednesday. Daria's gotten a problem trying to use her VPN in Russia due to the war. They're kind of blocking them. So I haven't gotten an email. She's been on the 24th. She was all excited and then nothing. So I email her and do that. But she, I don't know. Telegram isn't working. Apparently, well, I'm not quite sure. It works for other people, just not in Russia, I think. And so we'll see. But I email her. But it's nice when I hear from her. It's not nice when I don't. All right. All right. San Diego plays Milwaukee. Now, we saw Milwaukee get killed yesterday by San Antonio. Now, here comes San Diego in, and San Diego's 15.5, 221. What do you do with Milwaukee here? Total 221. They don't have much offense. San Diego, I would think they'd look at it. It's like when you play New Mexico State and, you just beat them. You get it's an easy, let's get the win. And so I think that's what we'll see here. Oh, by the way, my knee's all better. Was getting better yesterday. I had a hard time bending, but it was getting bendable. I took 2 hot tubs in the pool, and today it's fine. I can bend it. I can bend the knee. I can be on the King of Thrones. And anyway, so it's a tough spot when you get it went into like this joint, right? If it's the knee, and you so like here, you just bend it. But let's say I can't bend my elbow because I get gout right here. That's what it was in the knee. So it's a painful experience putting your shoes on. I'll tell you that. All right, boy. I don't want to lay 15.5. Oh, okay, San Antonio beat them, and then total of 221. You'd think it would go over just because San Diego scores a lot. Milwaukee, though, is lacking, so that's why they're not a live dog. And if they don't have their big man, then how do they, they're not going to score, so I can't go over. So I'm going to leave this game alone because I'm clueless. Miami plays Indiana. Miami 8.5, 245. The game's in Indy. Miami pretty high scoring. Indy pretty high scoring. I'm going to say Miami over 245.5, but I'm not going to bet it. It's not a bet. Indiana's pretty weak. 16 wins, so it's really hard to start betting on, but we don't know how offensive they are. Are they an over or an under team? And by under, I mean they can't score. Now they're good defense. Sacramento plays Brooklyn, the battle of the Z teams. Tennessee playing the Jets. Sacramento is a road favorite, 1.5, 221. I'm going to go over here with Sac over 221. I'm not going to play this. Both teams pretty bad defenses. That's why they don't win. They've lost 56, 57 games. This is crazy. Are these teams tanking, or in my words, they don't have any talent? So if you don't have any talent, are you really tanking, or are you just, I have no talent? And if we we'll look at the box score tomorrow and see if but the problem is I don't recognize too many players in the box scores anyway. Again, it's another game I don't really know what to do. I guess I would go over with it, but I'm not going to bet this game either. Because I don't. Can these teams score a lot, or they just have weak defenses, or what is it? Can I take Sacramento as a road favorite? I think Brooklyn might be the play, getting 1.5, but I can't take a team that's won 17 games, even though they're playing a team that's won 19 games. All right, Golden State and Portland. Is Steph Curry back? I don't know. They still played pretty well without him. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is Washington. This isn't Golden State. This is the Wizards, not the Warriors. So Portland is 16.5, 237 to Washington. I'm going to play Portland here. Lane 16.5 for 2 units. Now this why am I playing this? They're at home. This is Washington. Portland should blow them out. Again, Washington headed home, so they just want to get home. And Portland has a chance. They need the game. 37-38. They need the game. And they're playing Washington. So I'm going to take Portland lay to 16.5. Orlando goes to Toronto. Pretty even game. Toronto 41 wins. Orlando 39. And it's getting weaker and weaker. You should be in the 40s now. I mean, we got, I think, 9 games to go out of 82. So you should be, a good team should be 45 to 50 by now. Toronto is winning 2.5, 225 at home. I'm going to go over here. Toronto over 225, but I'm not going to bet it either. Boston and Charlotte. Boston 49 wins, Charlotte 39. Boston minus 1.5, 216. It says look for Knuppel and Miller to fire away from 3-point. I don't know which team they're on. Boston leading 1.5, 216. Boston. Charlotte's been playing well. Boston with the decent defense, 216. Charlotte. Let's go over in this game. Let's go Boston over 216. 2 units. I got to have some bets, right? Houston goes to New Orleans. Houston 5.5, 225. I don't know what to do with this. I think New Orleans and the 5.5 could be good, but I'm not going to bet it. The Knicks and Oklahoma. All right, Billy Sims will be playing tonight. The Knicks, Willis Reed, I think he's going to suit up with his pulled hamstring. Oklahoma 8.5, 224. I like Oklahoma here. I like the Sooners minus 8.5. Now let's go over. We're going to go over 224. Now that's my gut instinct. When I change like that, that's my gut picking the game. So I like Oklahoma over. I think they're a high-scoring team. The Knicks should be able to score, and that'll be it. Here's Golden State. They go to Denver. Denver's 12.5, 238. Is Steph Curry playing? Does it say? Let's see. Steph Curry out for the Warriors through Sunday. So no Steph Curry. So that makes me, do I want to play the over in the game? Kind of hurts that. So it's a high over, 238. Denver scores a lot, as does Golden State. I don't want to lay 12.5. I think over 238, although I don't like it because without Steph Curry, but the other guys start coming. That's the thing with the Pistons without Richie Cunningham. And you start watching these guys, you don't even know who they are. You don't know what college they went to, and they're going up and down scoring, and you're like, who are these guys? So, without Steph Curry, other guys will shoot. All right, pretty weak schedule today. Again, learning. Miami over 245. Sacramento over 221. Portland minus 16.5. That's a 2-unit bet. Toronto over 225. Boston over 216. 2-unit bet. New Orleans plus 5.5. Oklahoma minus 8.5 and over 224. We're going to go with the over 224 for Oklahoma. And Denver over 238 just because they score a lot. So 3 picks. Portland, Boston over, and Oklahoma over. I like how they call them Oklahoma City. Like, really? Do they call it Norman? Is it Ann Arbor or is it Michigan? I mean, it's crazy. So as we wind down into the playoffs, this is really hoping getting accustomed to these teams. There's really no rhyme or reason I still don't like to play large road favorites, even though San Antonio won yesterday. Still wouldn't touch it. Guys getting hurt you don't know are hurt, like on Anthony Edwards. It's funny, he came on once and I thought he was, I called him Anthony Davis on purpose. I'd never heard of Anthony Edwards. I don't know why he came on. He wasn't a gold bug, so fuck him. All right. Let's go to the Major League Baseball today. Well, let's look at Well, it doesn't do us any good to look at yesterday's. All right. Casey at Atlanta. Holmes against Seth Lugo. At least I've heard of Seth Lugo. Atlanta's at 152 favorite, total of 8. There's really nothing we can do until we get some ERAs and understand the pitchers. Baltimore, Minnesota, Boz against Bailey Over. Bailey Over usually sucks. Baltimore is a 149 favorite, a total of 9. So you can see how bad Bailey Over is. And please avoid this kind of crap. Bet $5, get $200 immediately, or $1,000 in fan cash. You can't cash the money in. They want you to keep betting because they want to addict you and they want you to keep betting. And that's the whole point when they say, "Oh, the free," because they know you're going to lose, because most people don't know what they're talking about. Unless you have a guy like me who is a professional, you're fucked, because they're all going to tell you whatever they want. Philadelphia, Texas. We got Gore for Texas and Luzardo for Philadelphia. Philly's a 156, Texas 143, total of 8. I have no idea. Toronto and Oakland. E. Lauer for Toronto and El Morales for Oakland. Good luck with that. Toronto's a 148 favorite, total of 9. See, here's where they get you, but if you take Oakland, you don't get 148, you get 136. That's the juice that you pay for these odds. It's worse in football when you take a big favorite, but you want to take the dog, and the favorite's like 10,000 to win 100, but the dog's like, bet 100, you win 3,000. You're like, well, wait, what happened to the 10,000 I could get? No, you can only get 3 if you bet the dog. What a Ponzi scheme that is, right? As we start understanding scams and Ponzi schemes more with Madoff and JP Morgan, you start seeing it how it is here. This is what I warn you about when you play these prop bets, and you're playing, you're playing the props, and you're playing the the odds are so bad. It's like craps and blackjack. The odds are terrible. Well, here the odds are terrible with that. Very bad odds. Like you'll lay 5,000 to win 100 on Alabama, but if you take the dog and you bet 100, you only win 1,200. You're like, why isn't it 5,000, 5,000? Especially if you're going to take a money line against Alabama, you'd think you'd get 10,000 to 1 odds. All right, the Mets home against Pittsburgh. We got Mladzinski. Who the hell is that? For Pittsburgh, the Mets, McClain. The Mets are a big favorite, 182. Total is 7.5. Again, they have Bo Bichette now, so we take that in, but you got to give them time to warm up. They all need about 2 weeks under their belts to really start settling down, because they're not used to playing every day and 9 innings, because preseason is bullshit and they're not ready. Boston goes to Cincinnati, 1976 World Series. C. Early, a lefty for Boston. Who knows? R. Lauder, a righty for Cincinnati. Boston's favored 128, 118. Good luck with that one. Colorado, Miami. Miami's a big favorite, 186 to 169. Colorado is still sucks on the road. They're 0-2. Quintana going against M. Myers. Have no idea. California goes against Houston. Houston is a 166 favorite at home. IMAI for Houston, and Kalkanawawitz for California. Good luck with that. Total of 9. Milwaukee and the White Sox. Milwaukee 155. Sprout for Milwaukee. The game's in Milwaukee. For the White Sox, AK. A.KAY. So the guy's name's K. Total of 7.5 in this game. Tampa Bay, St. Louis. Tampa Bay's a 114 favorite. Well, St. Louis only gets 106. Total of 7.5. We got S. Mats for Tampa and D. May for St. Louis. Washington, Chicago Cubbies. The Cubbies are a big favorite, 240 and a 9 ERA. Jay Irvin for Washington, and Imanaga, IMANAGA for the Cubbies. Why are they such a big favorite? Cleveland goes to Seattle. We've got Cleveland's up 2-1 in the series. Seattle's a 139 favorite, 7.5. So did Ric Flair win yesterday? I don't know. We'll have to look. Hancock for Seattle and Sassoni for Cleveland. Now I'm curious, did Ric Flair win yesterday for Seattle? That would have been my bet if I had to make one in baseball. Would have taken Ric Flair. Yankees won 3-1, and San Diego beat Detroit 3-0. The Dodgers beat Arizona 3-2. Well, in 10 innings, so Ric Flair didn't lose. Cleveland won 6-5. So I don't know how long. Well, let's see how long Ric Flair pitched. They do give you box scores here. Seattle pitching stats. Ric Flair went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, and a walk, a 3 ERA. Well, 2 runs in 6 innings because you prorated out to 9 innings. All right. So as we get going, we'll start seeing the pitching ERAs and learning the teams. We don't really care about over-unders as much in baseball because of the pitching. Like we can't bet Ric Flair to go under, or even Skeens or Skubal or any of these guys. We can't really. It's hard because they only play. Well, Skubal we know is only going to play 5-6 innings. That's it, and then he's got to go home and take a nap. And then we've got to see. Max Fried, Chris Sale. So you want to bet them under, but they don't pitch enough. They're only in there six innings, and the bullpens are so bad. You cannot have a good bullpen if you're doing it by committee. So you have 7-8 guys in your bullpen. You cannot have a good bullpen like that. It's impossible for them all to have major league arms. I mean, as I say, you got 30 teams. How in God's name do you have enough pitching for 30 teams? You don't. No way. You have enough pitching for maybe 10 teams. And that's 2 starters and a reliever. That's Raleigh Fingers. That's Catfish Hunter and Vita Blue. That's all you got. You never had that many good pitching. And to sit there and think you're going to do analytics and they can't go 3 times through the lineup. They can't do analytics sucks. It's ruining all the sports because it doesn't work. And they're taking things that they're not, you know, you see it, but does it work? You're telling me pitchers can't go through the lineup 3 times. And I'll show you Sandy Koufax and Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan and Jack Morris and Mickey Lolich and, Catfish Hunter. You name the pitcher. They're able to go through the lineup 3 times. It's such bullshit. So we'll go to a reliever, but the guy's not very good. That's the problem. You're assuming that it's better to bring in a new guy and pitch 1 inning. Doesn't work. So it's really just stupid. You shouldn't be. The problem. That's the problem. They think it because of a math formula, which they can skew any way they want. I mean, they could pull out stats to make it go for it on 4th down, without saying if you don't get it, you lose the game. John Madden said that. And therefore, you're not really, they're just taking, well, I got to go on 4th down because analytics says so. Are you a coach or are you a moron? I mean, that's the problem. And most of these guys don't have the ability to coach, shouldn't be coaching. That's why they all get fired, especially in the NFL. Well, it says I got to go for it on 4th and 2. This is the the Philadelphia Eagles. You're not getting the 1st down on that. Yeah, but it says we got to go, so I'm going to go. And they're so stupid, and the coaches are so stupid. I mean, before the coach would go, we're going to play field position. Bo Schembler, I'm going to punt the ball on 4th and 1. The only mistake Bo made was going for it on in the 14-11 loss in 1974. He had the ball on the goal line on 4th and 1 twice and didn't kick his field goal and didn't throw the ball. A play action pass to Dave Casper would have scored a touchdown. In fact, he was down 14-3, and he got a touchdown. He finally scored, and then on the 2-point conversion was a pass, and the guy was wide open, which, why didn't you do that? But by not kicking the field goal, instead of winning 17-14, he lost 14-11. Because we got to go for it. If we can't make a yard, we don't deserve to win. Well, if we have an idiot coach, we don't deserve to win either. And I think that's the biggest problem. The coaches are not qualified. So you're betting a lot of sports with bad coaches using analytics instead of game planning. I see it in poker a lot, where the guy's getting pot odds to call with a 2-7 offsuit. Well, he's getting pot odds. He doesn't have a hand. He's not going to win. Fuck the pot odds. Pot odds are stupid. Tell me where pot odds wins you money. I still have a shit hand. I don't care what my pot. The only time I use pot odds is pre-flop, and I'm the bigger small blind, and it goes around the table, and maybe 5 people have bet $10. Again, I'm playing 1-3. 10. Now there's $50 in the pot. That's the only time I will call with an average hand, because then I'm getting pot odds. So if I hit, there's $60 in the pot for me. All I got to do is put in the other, $10 or whatever. I will call that. I will not call on the flop. Flop comes and I've missed it. And then it's either I hit it or I missed it. It's got nothing to do with pot odds at that point, because I can't stand a bluff. I don't have a hand strong enough to call the bluff. So if I can't call it, I can be bluffed. And if I can be bluffed, I can't play the hand. So that's baseball. We've got to get comfortable with, it's more of you're betting the pitcher. I mean, that's That's the best way I can describe it. A good pitcher, you're either betting the under. If a good pitcher on both teams play, then you're definitely betting the under. And if a good pitcher is playing a bad pitcher, and by good pitcher, I mean under a 3 ERA and a bad pitcher is over a 5. So if I got a 2.5 ERA playing a 5 ERA, I'm betting the pitcher. Otherwise, I'm betting two good pitchers under, two bad pitchers over. And that's the only way to bet baseball. It's too much. It's every day. And you're changing lineups all the time. You're changing the pitcher. They're playing a lefty, so you're playing righties. They've got a righty pitching, you're playing lefties. It's the only sport that you do that with. Pretty much, football, basketball, your running backs out there, your receivers are out there. Mahomes is playing. Nothing's changing. Kelsey's out there, whatever the receiver. Now they got Kenneth Walker. The defense never changes. Sometimes you bring in a fifth defensive back, but it's the same team every week, as is basketball. You're not pulling Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen or Isaiah and Rodman, Lambert. They're all playing every day. So you're betting on the unit. Only in baseball, there's another flaw with baseball, trying to bet it, is you've got really two different teams. You've got the righty team and the lefty team. And you've got the good pitchers and the bad pitchers. And so you have to, I think, I'm really finding things as I'm problem solving this. You have to, okay, here's the righty team and here's the lefty team. And they could be totally different. And here's this pitcher and here's that pitcher. So how does the righty team do and how does the lefty team do? And I think that's the only way to really analyze and problem solve baseball, because it's so unique and because you have a different team, righty or lefty, depending on who's pitching. Instead of looking at the Tigers, you got to say, well, is it the right-handed Tigers or the left-handed Tigers? And then it's even screwy because the guy pitches 4 innings. So the lefty, they're facing a lefty. They got the right-handed team in. He pitches 4 innings. And then here comes the righty to fuck up. Now you go to the left. So it's really difficult with this 5 innings. And then we got to pull them for bring in the bullpen. It's a lot like gold in the fact there's physical gold and paper gold. And we're talking physical gold. The idiots on the news and, some of these guys who are on there are talking paper gold and they don't even know it. Well, gold collapse, they'll say gold, it went down, right? Whatever they want it, whatever term it is. So gold hits 5,500 and now it's down to, 4,500. It profit taking and it went down. Well, that's paper gold. They don't even know and understand the differentiation between these options that are controlling the price and the physical, which is about to go to the moon. And this is the point that really frustrates me. They just call it gold as if it's the same as if paper gold is physical. And as we've talked, because there's a lot more paper gold supply than physical gold supply, we know the price has to be 10 times higher because you can't just come up with, it's 200,000 tons. You can't just come up with 700,000 tons and price it the same as the 200,000 tons. As you know, we do that and with the baseball cards, you get an old Mickey Mantle that's a PSA 10, going to be worth $10 million because how many PSA 10s are there? 5? I'm talking like 1950 cards. Let's say you have a 1956 card. How many 10s do you think there are in the whole world for any card in there? Maybe 10, 20? So because it's limited, it's worth more. Same thing with gold. Because it's limited, it's worth more. And so now we're looking at baseball and we see a left-handed team and a right-handed team. It's the only sport that does it. But then as they bring in the relievers, now you bring in the right. You're starting with the left-handed team and you're ending with the right-handed team. And that's where the Tigers manager doesn't get it. He'll pull a 300 hitter for a 100 hitter because he's lefty versus righty. It's the stupidest thing. The guy hits 100 and he's hitting 100. Let's say he's a right-handed hitter. He's hitting 100. You've got to realize only against lefties, right? And he's still only hitting 180. And so you put him in against the lefty. Well, he's hitting 100 against lefties because he never faces righties. So you should be fired for being incompetent, because I would never take out a 300 hitter for a 100 hitter because it's a lefty righty kind of. So you're saying that lefties can't hit righties and righties can't hit lefties, or lefties can't hit lefties and righties can't hit righties. It's the stupidest thing I've ever played. I didn't play professional, but I played until I was 16, and all I saw was the ball coming over the plate. I didn't care who threw it. If it was a curve, it was a curve. But, it doesn't matter if it's curving right or curving left. The fact it's a curveball. The fastball is going to come over the plate. Doesn't matter. This is how poor the management is. Well, it's the third time through the lineup. I got to take him out. What are you, insane? So you're going to take out your ace. You're going to take out you're going to take out Max Fried and bring in Joe Fried because it's the third time through the lineup? Are you insane? You're taking out your ace? This is what I have a big problem with. You never take the ace out. You leave him in until you go 9 innings with him. He shouldn't get tired. He's got to learn to pace himself. And if he gets tired, then he needs to work out more and throw more to get his arm strength. That's what they used to do in the good old 60s and 70s. The guys would throw the ball from center field and they'd strengthen their arm and they wouldn't tire in the 9. Mickey Lolich pitched 3 games in a 7-game series, including on 2 days rest, and he won and he beat St. Louis. He pitched the whole game. He didn't come out. He was fine. And you don't hear the pitch counts if you watch these old World Series games. The 65 series with Koufax, they don't even bring up a pitch count. They don't say, well, he's at 100 pitches. I mean, you have no idea how many pitches he's thrown. It's so refreshing. All right, so let's talk poker. So that's baseball. Too early to bake the bets because we don't know what team it is. We don't know all the trades. We don't know the new players. College basketball, we gave you Michigan lay the 7.5 and Connecticut take the 5.5. And in the NBA, Portland lay 16.5, Boston lay over 216, and Oklahoma go over 224 because they got the offensive players. All right, let's talk poker. All right.
This is what happens to a 40-year-old man when he only washes his hair with a DHT blocking shampoo. After 2 weeks,
All right, this is an 8-minute hand. We're going to watch the hand. But let's explain what is bluffing. Bluffing is for the bluffer. I'm going to make a big bet to scare you out. For the bluffee, my hand isn't good enough to call, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose because the bet's big. So the bluffer wants to make a bet because he thinks you're weak. Let's say you have a pair of 7s. The bluffer's going to make a big bet, knowing you're not. You're just checking. So they're almost playing you like this. Let's see his bet. And, he's kind of like, yeah, okay, I should bet something, or I'm going to check. I don't really have a great hand. So theoretically, if you don't have a great hand and I make a big bet, how are you going to fold? Now, can you put me on a big hand? If I just bet the river a big bet, I don't know how you can put me on a big hand, because keep in mind the nature of the game is if you have a real big hand, you don't want to go all in for fear the guy won't call you. So you want to make a bet you'll get called because you want to bet. I got a full house. I don't want to go all in and he folds and I don't win anything. So I want to win something. So from that standpoint. So all of a sudden, these big river bets, they're looking at you going, well, he doesn't have much. He's not betting a lot. He's got a pair of sixes. I don't have anything, but I don't need anything. I can just make the big bet. And he's going to fold because he really doesn't have that good of a hand to call me. He can't call me. His hand's weak. Maybe a pair of sixes. Maybe he's got ace king. But if he doesn't have a strong hand, he's not going to call my big bet. So the big bet psychology is you're not strong, you're going to fold. So I'm going to make a big bet, you're going to fold, I'm going to win. I don't need anything to make the big bet, right? So if you keep that in mind, that's where the bluff comes from. I don't know that it's making him look like he's got a good hand. It's really, my hand isn't strong enough to call. I don't know what he has again, but I got a pair of sixes and he's going, and well, in my world, he's making it 200 and I got a pair of sixes. How can I call that? And that's the problem. It's really difficult to call with the pair of sixes, $200 in my game or 20, 30,000 in a big game. How can you call with a pair of sixes? Even though he's got nothing, how can you call this bet? Your hand isn't strong enough, which is one of the reasons I don't like playing weak hands. Even if I have 2-7 and I catch a pair of twos or a pair of sevens, I got no kicker, and if I got twos, there's 5 overcards on the table, unless one of them's a 2 and I hit the 7-2, I hit a 2. There's 4 cards. You can't call anything. So that's really, I'm looking at your weakness, and that's what I'm betting on. That you're not going to call because you're weak. And if I make it big enough bet, and it's not even gambling, it's not even a bluff. It's basically, will you call? If I make it $200 at my 1-3 game, are you going to call? Nobody's going to call unless they have a set, a straight, or a flush. And even then, I can maybe get you off the hand with the straight, depending. And then you're betting the board. Well, there's 4 diamonds on board. I'm going to bluff that I have the flush and see if he has. And if he doesn't, I'm going to win. He can only call me if he hit a big flush. And so the psychology is your hand isn't strong enough to call me. And once in a while, you have a full house, you're going to call me. Madisau here has a king high flush and doesn't call. And you're just scratching your head going, this might be the stupidest player I've ever seen in my life. So let's take a look at it, and then we'll explain a little bit more of the bluffing.
$1,200 straddle from Phil Ivey.
Very raw.
1,200 to play.
Yes, but
Chris Ferguson, first to act. A playable hand for some players, but not for Chris Ferguson in first position. No, exactly.
He's definitely playing a very cautious game right now. 8-handed, first to act. He knows he's going to have to put in at least 1,200. He's going to be pretty pleased he did pass. There's Madisau with pocket kings. With a 4,700 bet.
But he's got the Cowboys.
And pocket threes.
So Madisau's got kings.
Trying to spike a 3.
Well, it's kind of hand that can break Madisau, isn't it?
It certainly is.
How much? 4,100.
Some guys with $1 million contracts, I get 20,000.
And Helmuth thinking about his play here. Is he thinking about re-raising?
And when you,
Is he thinking about re-raising?
I don't know whether he's just doing a bit of kind of one-upmanship for Mike Mattis out.
Seems like I should be getting paid the same as everyone. You really want to get paid the same as everybody?
These two have been going at each other verbally
Is it really, though? Is it really? Yeah, it is.
for most of the day. Now he decides to lay it down.
No, I can't.
Pretty sure that Ivy will call this. And we'll see this three-handed. Patrick Antonius has gotten up, taken a break.
You don't have to.
Cool. He'll rejoin us shortly.
Doesn't want to see an ace, Mike. What he doesn't realise is he doesn't want to see a 3 either. Well, there's a 4 there for Phil Ivey.
I was going to say the ace, actually.
So watch the betting.
The ace. The 3
Exactly.
would cost him his whole stack.
11,000.
Exactly.
Fold.
So Phil Ivey in the foreground right, and Mattis out. The 2 players left.
Now, Ivy is out of position. He's got bottom pair with top kicker. He's a 4-1 dog here. Tough spot to be in.
He does. He probably thinks that if he catches a 4, he's going to get the lot off Mike.
Yeah, so just make it 26, whatever. 82, yeah, 82, 84.
Tom Dwan talking to his fans. Cool.
He's called.
So we don't know how much the bet was. Looks like 9,000.
So I'm called check. Now that's a very, very dangerous card here. Not only is it the third club, it's the top pair. Can Ivy represent that?
Well, he's gone check, check.
7.
Well, he's got the king of clubs, Mike.
Check.
Check from Phil. Now, can Mike remember if he's got a club or not? I think he does.
And you imagine a value bet will come in here. I can't see Ivy calling, can you?
Forgot what I had. He's just going to have a look back. I was right. He couldn't remember whether he had a club or not.
So notice Ivy here on the river is checking.
Pot is $37,800.
15,000.
Get a $15,000 bet from Mattisau. Action back to Ivy.
The bet laying Phil 3-1.
So we notice Ivy checked there on the river, right? And the Mattisau bet's 15,000. Now it takes a while, so I'm just going to say Ivy then goes 54,000, and Mattisau folds. Now, what was the first rule I said? If they check the river, which Ivy did, and then you bet and they come over the top, it's a bluff 100% of the time, right? I've said that. So because that's exactly what happened, he checked. Mattisau, I don't know what he's thinking betting 15,000. What does he think Ivy's going to call with? He's either going to fold or he's going to come over the top like he did. You're fucked either way. So it's just, it takes them so long.
For it to be a profitable call. Well, he's decided.
52,000. So
He's decided to re-raise it.
So a check, a bet by Mattisau, and then a bluff here.
Well, obviously, Mattisau cannot beat the ace of clubs. He also cannot beat a full house. There's a paired board out there.
How can Mattisau fold this?
And that's certainly what Ivy is representing.
He's got the king high flush. No, Ivy's not representing that. Ivy checked. So how do you fold a king high flush here?
Is it possible for Ivy to have a full house here?
No. Okay, so this is what they don't get. Ivy checked the river. Ivy does not have a full house. He does not have an ace high flush, or he would never have checked. He'd want to get paid off. Not only that, Ivy, if he had 3 jacks, would have bet the turn instead of checking. So the turn went check, check. why did Mattisau check the turn? He should have bet it. So he's showing weakness, but he's got the king high flush. How can he fold the hand? I mean, this is what you really can't bluff a king high flush, but in this instance, the large bet shows you the large bet scares you. So Mattisau ends up folding with the king high flush, Ivy checking the river. Now, if you would have listened to my video, anytime you check the river and then you bet and he comes over the top, it's a bluff 100% of the time. So instead of Ivy folding, Ivy should have folded. He had nothing. Mattisau should never have folded with the king high flush. If he's got the ace of clubs, he's got the ace of clubs. Was it too big of a bet for Mattisau? He didn't have that. I don't know. I'm getting a warning. This guy's obviously got the video, so I can't show it, but I showed most of it. Anyway, that's the point. So this is a perfect example. How can Mattisau fold a king high flush? Doesn't have the ace. He didn't raise you pre-flop. You didn't bet enough pre-flop. You bet 4,700. Then I think it was 9,000 on the flop. You checked the turn, and then you bet 15,000 of what was that bet about on the river? He checked to you. And this is the other point. If he's checking to you, right? If Ivy checks to you on the river, why would you bet? You know how he bluffs. If he makes it 50,000, are you going to call? Then just take the pot down. You should have bet the turn. You should have, and you got the king high flush. How in God's name do you fold it? If he's got the ace, he's got the ace. That's all you can say. I mean, he did have an ace of spades, but there wasn't an ace on board. You don't have to worry about aces beating your kings. The jacks came out. Ivy would have bet because we know how aggressive he is. Anybody would have bet. If I had a jack in my hand and the jack paired on the turn, I wouldn't be checking it with 3 clubs on board because my trips are nothing against the flush. So I don't see how Mattisau can possibly fold his hand, and yet he folds it because of the risk of losing the money. The 54,000 was more than Mattisau could handle. He couldn't handle that bet. And Ivy probably knew that. But if you can't handle the bet, why did you bet the river? So Ivy checks to you to say, I got a flush. And I do that a lot because I don't even want to be into that. I don't want to be into that. He's going to bluff me and it's a big bet. Now I got to decide, do I call? So if I get a check and I got this. I don't fuck around because I don't want to have that decision if I don't need to. And if Ivy's checking to me on the river, and that's a perfect example. He checked on the river and he had nothing. And then he Mattisau bet and then he bluffed. And that's the bluff 100% of the time. So if you're ever in a hand and a guy checks to you on the river and you bet, and then he comes over the top, it's an immediate call. Because if he had the ace of clubs or he had the full house, he'd have bet the river. The announcers are like, well, he could have. No, he couldn't have it because he checked the river. Anybody with the full house or the ace high flush would never have checked the river. Now it turns into a check raise that never should have been. Mattisau never should have bet. Mattisau's in a position he has to call with the king high flush. How do you fold that? He might have the queen. He might have the jack of clubs and 3 jacks. You've got him beat. You've got a flush. Did he really hit a full house on the jack? Well, he didn't bet the turn, which he would have, and he didn't bet the river. So how could he have had a full house if he didn't bet the, this is the problem. He's looking at the amount bet. He's not playing the hand out. He's not realizing I could have checked. And it's the check raise on the river is not the same as a check raise on the flop. So if Ivy on the turn had checked and Mattisau bet, and then he checked raised him, and maybe that's what Mattisau was afraid of, that he had 3-jack, but I don't know why. Like I said, and certainly a jack 6, you did raise it 4,700. Maybe you should have raised it 7,500. You want to make a big bet. If I have kings, I'm making a big bet pre-flop to get these guys out. All right, the pair of 3s stayed in, didn't hit his 3. You got him. And then the ace-4 of Ivy, he didn't even play his cards. He just played Mattisau. So this is the problem. So that's why you have to look at that, but realize now what was the bluff? In Mattisau's eyes, he's got me beat. But all Mattisau looked at was the 54,000 check raise on the river. But he didn't look at, he didn't bet the flop. So wouldn't he have bet the flop if he had jack 6? In other words, all right, at the end, he thinks he has a full house. But the flop came jack 6, and he didn't bet it. Mattisau bet it, and he called it. Wouldn't Ivy have raised it because there's 2 clubs on board and he's got 2 pair? Ivy would have raised that. Most people would have, because you're worried about the flush. So you don't want the flush to come out. So there's no way he had jacks and 6s. So when the other jack comes out and he checks that, then you're like, okay, he's checking the turn. If he had jacks and 6s, he wouldn't have checked the turn. Or now he had the boat, he might have checked the turn. Maybe he checks the turn if he actually had the boat, but he would have bet the flop if he had the 2 pair. So the 2 pair you rule out, then he gets a jack. Well, maybe he's got 3 jacks, which he'd still bet because he wouldn't want the flush to come out. There's 3 clubs out there. And then on the river, Mattisau gets his flush. What could Ivy have possibly had there? Would he have checked the turn with the ace of clubs, hoping to get the flush? No. So that's a big point. A big part of it is that. Now, I don't know if I can play these because I'm getting messages on that. But anyway, so Mattisau folds a king high flush because he doesn't want to call the 54,000, of which you wonder, then why did you bet the 15,000? I mean, the guy checks to you, you bet the 15,000 on the river. You're either what are you betting? You're either he has a full house, which you don't want him to call you, or he's got nothing and he's going to fold. Therefore, Mattisau should never have bet it. Take the money in the pot, be happy. Thank you very much. If you can't call 54,000, it's as simple as that. So again, it's the fear of the bet that Mattisau folded. In this case, he actually had a king high flush. It's amazing he folded. And then Ivy lies to him and says, oh, I had the ace. He doesn't say I had the ace of clubs. And he did have an ace, but it was ace of spades. But he says, oh, I had the ace. But not the real ace. And Mattisau, like, this guy's a professional poker player. Wow. I don't understand that. At some point you play your cards, right? Yeah, I know you're playing the other guy, but if you're playing the other guy, and he checks the river and you bet, he's either going to bluff you or he's going to fold. You cannot, and unless you can withstand the bluff, then you can't make the bet. If you can't, if he check raises me, then I got and I'm going to fold, then why make the bet at all? So it's a stupid bet by Metaso. It was a dumber fold. You've got to call. You got a king high flush. You've got to call. The jacks. There's no way he had two pair. He would have bet the flop with the two pair with the two clubs out there. I mean, because you're worried about a flush coming. And then when he hits the jack, oh, now he's got a full house, but he's not betting. And then he doesn't bet the river. By not betting the river means he doesn't have the full house. I mean, that's as clear as you can make it. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Oh, it might have worked on this one. Poker play. Well, let's try this one. I don't know if I'll get this error message. This is Daniel Negreanu bluffing.
400K? Wow. Daniel Negreanu is known for his insane bluffs, and in this video, you're about to see why.
Too small, Jen. Phil Lockett is going to be upset with you after that raise size because it's too small. Because like a real, sizable one puts me to a decision. Now I don't really have one.
Joe, we looked. You had aces.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. You probably misclicked.
Last time I took a base from you, I lost the tournament.
Sorry. See, if you would have raised like a lot more, this hand probably doesn't get called. Now you're out of position. Cover
I
spot.
am out of position.
See, that's the thing.
This is a new thing I'm dabbling with,
What's
the min raise.
The min re-raise out of position?
Yeah, the min re-raise out of position. That's like
It's insanity.
The flop comes 8-10-4, and Jennifer Tilly is sitting pretty with middle pair. But Daniel, he's already scheming.
I'm going to do the dunk bet.
That's not a donk bet because you were the pre-flop raiser.
Oh, okay, it's not a dunk bet.
It's a continuation bet.
A continuation bet.
Jennifer did flop the best hand.
Bets 5,000 with middle pair. And now you're in a tough spot because there's a lot of funky stuff that could happen over there.
I know, that's a very textured board.
Yeah, a lot of bad cards come off, and I can just.
Okay, this is Daniel's tell. He's talking a lot. When he talks a lot, he doesn't have anything. He's nervous, and he will then talk. He's bluffing. So that's the first tell.
Bluff raise the turn or something stupid like that.
You could.
Turn a pair into a bluff. I'm really good at that. It's one of my big things Bill Reynolds taught me. Flop a pair. You think they got a big one? Just raise, bluff them on the turn. Welcome to the view. Daniel makes the call.
Daniel's got a bad ace high. I assume this is a float with an intention of trying to swipe it later.
Turn 5 of hearts. Tilly and Daniel now both with gut shots.
I'm going to check.
Tilly checks.
Daniel's picked up wheel out, so my guess is this would be a good time to follow through on that float.
Bet 9,000. That's some great follow through. Bets 9,000.
He's testing Jennifer's mettle.
She rises to the challenge, makes the call.
Good call from Jen.
We'll see a river.
The river brings the 7 of spades, giving Jennifer a straight. And now, Daniel's about to prove why he's one of the best in the world.
To make sure.
Looks like she's going to lead at this now.
20.
Fires 20,000.
Well, I'm fairly certain Daniel knows he doesn't have the best hand, so it's pretty unlikely that he'll call. Even for Daniel, a call would be ridiculous. So it looks like there might be a little devil inside him trying to tell him to raise and take Jennifer off her hand. I don't know that Jennifer can be taken off her hand.
Look at this. Daniel is all in.
They probably have the same hand.
Not quite, but if she follows her reach, she will win.
So sick.
Jennifer has about 80K behind. I think if it were more like 50, it'd be a snap call.
You have 9 jack, right?
Would that be the same hand as you have? Because if you didn't have that and you didn't call by now, it would be a little bizarre.
8, 9, jack. 8, 9, 10, jack. Oh, God.
These decisions are even tougher on TV. All kinds of self-leveling going on.
Why would you go all in?
Good question.
Can I call a friend?
The only person you may call is Daniel.
What do you have, Daniel?
What do I have?
Yeah.
I have a straight.
Is that what you have?
I'm straight. Well, you said we had the same hand.
Is it a chop? Because that's what I have.
Oh, you have a 6? You ever raised me with a 6 out of position?
No?
That's crazy talk. Then how do you have a straight?
This is going to look so bad on TV when I fold.
No, we only had a 6. That was a given.
Yeah, you didn't know when you shipped it.
Okay, so let's analyze that hand. What the fuck is Jennifer Tiller doing? How do you fold a straight? I mean, if he's got 9-jack, he's got 9-jack. You lose, but you can't fold a straight there. And what are these people doing? She bet 20 grand. Okay, now Daniel goes all in. If Daniel had 9-jack, would he go all in? No. He would never go all in because he wants to get paid off. He doesn't want her to fold. In the bluff, he wants her to fold. That's the point of the bluff. But if he had 9-jack and he's got the nuts, he's not going all in. I guarantee you that. He wants to get called. He doesn't want to scare you off your hand. So the all in like that is 100% bluff. You've got to call. See, again, she's scared to put in 80 grand because he went all in. She's scared to do the 6. She's scared to do the other 80 grand. So she's scared of the bet, not the hand. What can she put him on? He didn't do anything. There was no signs that in other words, he'd have had the straight before the 7. No, the 7 gave him the straight. Did it? I don't know, 8, 9, 10 jack. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10 jack. So the 7 gave him the straight. She shouldn't. I mean, it was terribly played. In other words, when she's betting to 20, and if he had the straight, well, if he had the 9-jack, he'd have called, but he would have been betting on the 8, 9, 10 jack the whole way, which he wasn't. Anyway, the big all in at the end is 99% a bluff. Very rarely is it I've got the nuts because I want to get paid off is the analytical way. But we just saw Mattisau fold a king high flush because of the pressure. And so part of my thesis was, well, people are going to have a weak hand, and so I can bluff them because they have a weak hand. This is insanity. A big bet and you have a straight and you fold, and you have a flush and you fold is insanity. It really is. It's ridiculous. You can't. How do you play poker? I mean, you're missing the whole point. Then, if you're folding flushes, you have the king high flush, and you're folding it. You got to be out of your mind. Now, granted, yes, we're watching and we know what they have. But if I'm playing the Mattisau hand, if I'm playing and I hit the flush with the king of clubs, there's no way I'm folding. I will watch the jack, but if you replay the hand, he didn't bet on the flop. He called, and he didn't bet on the turn. He would have if he had jack or if he hit trip jacks. The full house, he might have wanted you to get to the river and catch your flush, like in rounders, except for he checked on the river. So if I'm scared of the jacks, the pair of jacks, that you got a full house and you check to me, I'm turning, I got a flush. I'm not even making the bet because I don't even want to deal with it. If you had the full house, you would have bet. And that's just the way it's human nature. I want to win, right? I'm playing to win, human nature. So if I have it and it's my turn and I'm checking, you're not going to bet. You don't, if you're afraid of this check raise, which Madison apparently is, he should have just thrown over his hand because he's either going to fold. He's either got the full house or he doesn't. You don't want to pay to see it. So just call. Tilly here, she made a $20,000 bet with the straight. He goes all in and puts pressure on her to call a big hand. And she starts asking him. She starts, and notice how quiet Daniel got. So in the beginning of the hand, he's yappity. He's got nothing. The end of the hand, he's quiet. He doesn't say anything. So he is bluffing. And then she asks him, do you have the 9 jack? Like, yeah, I do. You know, what does she think he's going to say? All right, this one looks like we can go. This is a different channel, so we might be able to see some more.
As we all know, Ken didn't know.
Ken's not even here anymore.
Ken's checked out.
Tilly folds.
Don't you dare not show her.
Yeah, I don't want to
Don't
see.
you dare not show her.
I don't want to see. Give me my $5.
He knew it was a
Even the
bluff.
commentators can't believe it. Daniel just bluffed Jennifer off a made straight with absolutely nothing. That's next level poker. But if you thought that was crazy, wait until you see what happens when Daniel takes on 2 poker pros at the same time.
Fucking commercials.
That was crazy. Wait until you see what happens when Daniel takes on 2 poker pros at the same time. In this hand, Daniel, Doyle Brunson, and Kim Holtman are locked in a 3-way battle, and Kid Poker is about to do what he does best.
With a jacket.
All spades on the flop.
Doyle's got a pair of 9s. Make a straight flush with the 7 of spades. Holtman's got an open-end straight draw with the jack of spades, and Daniel bets with a pair of 6s.
I like Gabe
He bets
Kaplan.
1,500.
Holtman could have raised. He's got the button, but chooses to just call. Will Doyle raise? Nope.
Nope.
See, now by nobody raising
Ace of spade.
shows that nobody's got a hand, right? So if you're analyzing the hand and you don't see betting, you're going, they don't have anything. Because if they have anything, they'd want to, what do we got? We got 2 spades on board. So if I have something, somebody might have 2 spades, has 4 spades. I don't want to let the flush come out. And now I have to protect my hand. Let's say I have a pair of kings and it comes 9, 10, 6, 9, 10 with 2 spades. Well, I don't want them to catch the straight or the flush. I'm going to make them pay for it. So because nobody bet, you know nobody's got a hand. Doyle had a pair of 9s, but nothing big.
It's on the turn.
So an ace hits.
Doyle checks his flush.
Daniel looks down at a pair of 6s. Not exactly a monster hand, but he's not backing down.
Very interesting. The one guy that doesn't have a spade
Right.
comes out betting.
5,500.
Now, Holtman is thinking Daniel's betting into 2 people. He's got the 3rd best hand. King of spades or queen of spades would beat him, and either one of these guys could have it. He's going to call, but I don't see him raising.
Yeah. He calls.
And I think Doyle's going to let his 8 of spades go.
There's another 6 for Daniel.
The turn gives him a 3 of a kind, but Holtman's sitting on a jack-high flush.
Yep. That's 36,000.
Bets 36,000, just like he had the king of spades.
36,000. Yes.
Nice if you bluff.
Nice if I bluff.
And just like that, he gets Holtman to fold. His ability to read his opponents and apply pressure really is next level. But let's see what happens when Daniel goes up against someone just as fearless, the greatest poker mind of all time. We're at the 2014 Aussie Millions, and Daniel's facing off against none other than Phil Ivey. 2 of the best poker minds in history are about to battle it out. You don't want to miss this.
Play this time. Round to Daniel. Between Daniel and Phil, there's approximately $40 million in prize money in poker. They're two of the biggest names in the world over the last 20 years. Negreanu with Queen Jack of Spades.
A legitimate hand from Daniel to complete from the big blind there.
Flop Ace 10-5. We only know Phil has a Queen of Diamonds. Action's on Phil.
It's a gut shot for Daniel. He's not going to go anywhere, that's for sure.
150K, it looks like it. And Daniel comes along for the ride. The turn, a 3 of diamonds. Daniel checks over to Phil. Fascinating to watch two of the biggest players in the world going head-to-head.
And Phil checking back just shows that he might have a little bit of value with his queen. He could have a queen 10 or a queen jack, the straight draw, a king queen, that type of hand.
The river, an 8 of diamonds, and it looks like Daniel's going to take a stab here. 225,000 is the bet from Daniel Negreanu. He's definitely smelt some kind of weakness from Phil Ivey.
Daniel, with nerves of steel, fires out a 225K bet with just queen high. Just got, like I said, king high or queen high here. Thinking, should I hero call with a king high? As it turns out, king high would be good.
Oh, he puts the chips back. Does that mean he's folding? He does let it go. So Phil Ivey got very...
So what do we see? In the first one, Daniel, the second one, Daniel actually has trip sixes into the flush. The big bet scared the guy. He had the jack thinking he's got the king or the queen. There's a time you have to call. You got all that money and he's makes a big bet, but notice he didn't go all in. But again, at some point you have to call. I got a jack high flush, an ace jack flush. And there's a time you have to call it. And one with Ivey, basically Ivey was weak. He just didn't have anything. So in some of these hands where they're getting away, they're getting flushes and straights to fold, it's the big bet. And your fear of losing and your fear of the big bet is what gets you. So that's it. That's the idea of the bluff. It's so Daniel's, in the one hand, Daniel's showing a higher straight. In the one with Madisal, Ivey was showing a full house. In the hand, they just did. Daniel had nothing. He just got Ivey out because he had nothing. So I bet the guy out. And then this other one with the flush, he was representing a higher flush. So does the betting make sense to see what's happening? So you're keeping an eye on the pre-flop and the flop to kind of tell you what they have. But at the river, you had the check raise, which is obviously 100% bluff. You have this other one where he just makes a big bet against Tilly bet, and he raised, and she couldn't stand the raise. So that was an all in, which should have told you it's a bluff. This one, he had trip sixes. I think he was, maybe he knew the guy would fold. If Doyle was in, I don't think he would have done it because Doyle would have called him. But in this case, Daniel with the big bet, again, it's human nature. I want you to call. So am I going to make this big bet? It's pretty much to get you out. Right? That's how you got to think. He made a big bet, so I fold. He didn't make the big bet to get called. He's making the big bet to get me to fold. So that's the psychology you have to understand. Instead of looking at the big bet going, oh my God, I can't put 50 grand in. The question is why? Jennifer Tilley asked that question. Then why did you go all in? But she didn't follow up with that. She had the straight. Why did you go all in? She said, are we going to chop? But I don't know what she was talking about. Maybe she thought he had a 6. And if that's the case, she should have called. You already got all your money in, you got to call it. So that's a lot of it is, so you're watching the betting, as I say, forget the tells, you're just watching the betting. And when Daniel makes those big bets on the river, I'd like to see him with a normal hand. I bet he doesn't make those big bets on the river, right? That's the key to it. Do they make the big bet? Phil Ivey bet the 54,000 on Mike Madison. If Phil Ivey had a full house, would he bet 54,000? And that's how you got to see. So when I was playing the Russian girl, she'd make big bet. Let's say she's it's a 1-3 table and she's betting 100, and she's bluffing. So I slow played her. Right, I had aces and she made the bet, and I called and she came again, and then I went over the top and she folded. But then the next hand she's checking, or down the road, then the flop comes and she checks, and I'm like, where's the big bet? I didn't say it, but I was like, where's the big bet? She must have a hand she doesn't want me to fold. So the intent of the big bet on the river, the big is the bluff. I'm going to make a big bet to bluff you, because otherwise I want you to call me. So the question is, the bet, when he went all in on Jennifer Tilly, he was saying, I want you to fold. I don't want you to call. Right? If you understand that, and don't look at the amount bet, but look at the conscious. Same thing with Phil Ivey against Madison. Phil Ivey makes this big bet, and he even checks, and then Madison bets 15, and then he makes it 54. Well, what's the point of the bet? It's to get you to fold, not to get you to call. To get you to call, I would have maybe made it 40,000. Well, he put in 15. So, no, I think it was 54. So he raised them 54. I think if he had the full house, first of all, he wouldn't have checked the river. He'd have bet the river. He'd have bet enough to get called. I hope he's got the flush. I'm going to bet. He probably would have bet 25,000, and Madison would have put him on maybe a full house, but he wouldn't have checked with the full house. So again, if it's an all-in by Negreanu, it's a bluff, because he'd want you to call. But by doing that, he's saying, I want you to fold. By making a smaller bet, I want you to call. All right, let's look at one more, Daniel.
Very close to calling, you could see that. Daniel smelt some weakness. We still don't know what Phil Ivey had in that hand. And there it is. He had King Queen. So you were right, Grant. He almost caught him.
And just like that, the world's greatest bluffer gets bluffed. In this next hand, Daniel's at the 2018 Poker Stars PCA event, and you won't believe what happens.
Wait, so the two chip leaders go heads up to the flop.
What are you thinking about?
6-5-3.
Now, Daniel does not have a set, but this is a flop he can convince himself his deuces are good on.
Ivan Luca makes a continuation bet.
It's a very small continuation bet. Small C bets are in right now, but it does make it very easy for your opponent to float you.
Remember, this event is playing with a shot clock. Every player has 30 seconds per decision. Daniel decides to raise. Makes it 95,000.
Now, this isn't going to get many better hands to fold, but he can fold out hands that have decent equity, like 2 overcards.
Well, he's going to get called by Luca with his overpair.
The raise by Daniel might also just buy him a cheap showdown.
3 of spades on the turn, pairing the board. Luca now an 86% favorite. He checks. Negreanu checks behind. An 8 on the river. Luca still ahead with 9s.
Check. That looks like a check to induce to me. Pretty sure Luke is confident he's got the best hand.
284,000 in the pot.
He's beat, but he doesn't think so. He goes deep in the tank, trying to figure out what Luca has. And what happens next? Pure poker magic.
Any pizza, any toppings, for just $9.99? Sheesh, I'm getting all kinds of ideas.
At Hamden Stone, members get more. Starting with a free facial gift card just for joining.
Next, pure poker magic.
Daniel bets ridiculously big, 400K.
There's the bluff.
And Luca folds.
That was not the bet.
Okay, so let's explain that. So Luca's checking. He checked. He bet the flop. He checked the turn, and he checked the river, saying I'm weak, hoping for a showdown. Daniel makes this big bet, not to get called, to get him to fold, like 400K. And that there wasn't a lot in the pot. He clearly doesn't want to get called. He doesn't want him to call. So the bet's big enough, and the checks, right? He checked the turn, he checked the river. If he had pocket threes, he wouldn't have checked. If he had a three, would have given him a set of threes or a straight, he would have bet. So Daniel knows he doesn't have anything, even though he had a pair of nines. He knows it, and so Daniel, it didn't matter what he had. He's watching the guy's weakness. Check, check, big bet. The intent of the bet is to get you to fold, and he did. The intent is not to get called. Now, if you can understand that and go, why'd you bet so much? Are you trying to get me to fold? I mean, I've said this before. You know, some guy will make a big bet. I go, you trying to get me to fold? I smell what you're cooking. So that's the key to it. So it's, can the guy call 400 grand? He ran away. No. He didn't even think. He didn't say, why is that bet so large? You checked the turn, and I don't think he didn't check the river, but he checked, I think the floppy was just a small bet, and the turn, there was check. So what do you do? Oh, he's got the three, he hit a set of threes. Well, no, there was a straight out there. See, if you got the board with the four clubs, or I think that was a 5, 6, and a 9 or something, or no, it was a 3, a 5, a 6. You're worried about him catching the straight. So you're not going to check the turn. You're going to bet the turn. So Daniel, seeing the weakness, check, made a big bet, and the guy didn't even figure it out. He just said, well, it's too big. I'm folding. I don't want to put 400 grand in the pot, without realizing that it was a bluff, because he doesn't want me to call. He wants me to fold. The bet that big is I'm hoping you fold, not I'm hoping you call me. There is no way in the world you bet 400K you want to get called, right? So if the guy had a 3, he probably would have folded. If he had a straight, we've seen that where the guys are folding. So they're not looking at the intention of the bet. They're not saying, why is the bet so big? And he's making the big bet because he says, oh, this guy's weak. He's checking. Maybe he's got a small pair, which he did. I can get him out with that. All right, let's watch one more.
Trying to induce. Daniel's reputation earns him a win there.
That sure took some balls from Daniel there. And now he's got to be feeling on top of the world. In the next hand, Daniel's at it again. This time with only 10-6 suited.
Time, online, playing, polishing his game. MJ with far less experience.
So he didn't bet it.
And chess and pickleball have certainly been arenas that poker players have turned to.
So he's got 10-6 of
Keep themselves
spades.
sharp physically and mentally outside the poker realm during quarantine.
Smith's got a pair of 8s. Daniel's got nothing but a straight draw.
Gut shot straight draw on the button for Negreanu.
Small bet.
Better one in the small for Berkey. And he will check raise, putting a lot of pressure on middle pair behind him. And with the 8 out of there, Berkey now a heavy favorite.
Yeah, I don't know what he's calling with.
The backdoor spades.
He's got nothing.
Wants to peel, and in comes that 5 of spades.
The board's dangerous. Flush draws and straight draws everywhere. And this hand is about to get wild.
With nothing.
2.6 to 1, the lay here. And it feels like we know where those two flags are headed. Right into the middle. There's another 20K slips into this pot. Berkey has just queen high now.
So let's watch his bet.
Can't imagine his hand is good, though it is. Will he fire this crucial third barrel and collect the spoils, or will he wave the white flag?
See, there you go. I got weakness. I checked.
Must bet.
There's the big bet because you checked.
And he very confidently asks for all of it.
Oh, the spade like that.
He didn't have a spade. Good thing I did.
So what happened in that hand? He bets, Daniel calls. He bets, Daniel calls. Then he checks the river. He's betting on the straight draw, which never came. So he doesn't hit his hand. And then he tells Daniel, I didn't hit my hand. I checked the river. As we know, if you hit it, you're not checking the river. So he's there. And then he checks the river, and Daniel goes, he must have nothing. So Daniel doesn't care what he has. He's seeing the guy has nothing, and then he's coming with this, I don't know what it was, $50,000 bet. Well, the guy can't call. He doesn't have anything. Now, had the guy bet 20,000, Daniel folds, right? Because he had bet, Daniel called. He had bet, Daniel called. Daniel didn't go over the top. But by checking the river, you're saying, I don't have anything, or I have very small. And Daniel with the big bet, the guy goes, well, I don't have anything, I can't call. Now, had the guy raised him, he would have won. He would have bluffed Daniel out. But if he wanted to win the hand, he had to bet 20 grand on the river. Then Daniel he'd be beaten. But by checking, you're just opening the door. Here comes a bluff because I checked. And Daniel's playing the guy that he's got nothing because he checked the river. So he's getting it to the river, and then he gets to the river and the guy has nothing. And that's the power of the bluff. It's just sometimes you're getting people to fold flushes and straights that have, like Mike Madison should not be a professional poker player if he's got the king high flush and he's folding. I mean, he's too stupid to be a professional poker player. There's a point that if he's bluffing me, I got to call. I mean, you just have to call. I mean, that you have a king high flush, you have to call Madison. And Ivy checked the river. See, if you really ought to have understood, if you check the river, you don't have shit. And look what Daniel did the last hand. He checked the river, and Daniel came over the top, and the guy folded. And that's what Madison should have done with Ivy. He should have just, okay, fine, you're checking, I'm checking, or read it that he checked the river, so therefore I'm going to call his bluff because he's clearly bluffing because he would not have checked the river. Very few times do I see a guy with a full house check the river, hope somebody bets, and then goes over the top. You're going to bet the river 99% of the time with the full house or a straight or a flush. You got a big hand. It's up to you. You're betting. You're not checking, and then the guy makes the bet. You know, those bets on the river are stupid because he's either got nothing and he's going to fold, or he's going to try to bluff you, in which case you have to be prepared for it and able to call. So when I was in Vegas with my queens, the guy checked me. He checks. I bet my queens, I don't know, $30, $40. And he comes over the top for 100. And it took me all of 1 second to call him. Immediately in my head, I go, I'm being checked raised on the river. He doesn't have anything. And he had nothing. I won with queens. All right. So that's poker bluffs. Again, the strategy is the big bet on the river is I got nothing is I don't want to call. If I make a big bet, I don't want to call. Now, again, it depends who you're playing. If you're playing Daniel Negreanu, you got to be careful. He will call you with nothing, but he'll call you with some period. Like if the guy bet, Daniel Negreanu has to fold there. But Daniel Negreanu is a calling station. He likes to call. He doesn't like to get bluffed, although there he had nothing to call with. But a lot of the hands he's making, like when he got Jennifer Tilly off her straight, was just simply she talked herself out of it. He made the big bet, and well, he bets, then he goes all in, and you've got a call with your straight. I mean, it's just crazy. So people mad us out with the flush. So you can get off people with strong hands. If the board creates that. So 4 diamonds I can bluff, and I'm only going to get called with somebody who has an ace, king, or queen of diamonds. Maybe a 6 or a 5 of diamonds, they're not going to call me. So that's where the bluff on the board happens, right? You can bluff with the board because of that happening. Anyway, I think that's about it. So we'll watch gold and silver tonight. It'll come out about 6:30. Again, we know it's fixed. We know it's suppressed, but it's about to go because these wars, the big recession, the dollar's crashing, everything very positive for gold and silver. So don't worry. Again, we're looking at the physical price, which doesn't exist. They keep showing us a paper price. It keeps going down, and we just go, what the fuck's going on? And it's just because they need to buy gold because the dollar's worthless. So I think all the banks are buying gold and silver because they realize the dollar's worthless. And if you realize the dollar's worthless, you have to get into gold and silver. There's no Bitcoin or any of that crap. There's nothing else to go into. All right, let's replay. We got college baskets today. We got Michigan -7.5. We got Connecticut +5.5, both 2-unit plays. In the NBA, we got Portland Lane 16.5, 2 units. Boston over 216, 2 units. In Oklahoma, the Sooners, what do we got? We got over 224 for 2 units. So those are our plays. Baseball, it's too early to start playing. We need the pitchers. And right now it's a bunch of zeros, so we can't do anything. And that was poker bluffing. It's psychology. It's about having, I got nothing. It's about the bet, which intimidates, and you fold for fear of losing. Most people have the fear of losing, not the strength of winning. When we bet football, we don't have a fear of losing. We analyze the game, we problem solve the game, and if it's a good bet, we do it. Like Seattle in the Super Bowl, we didn't have a fear of losing. We made a comfortable bet, and it was 30-unit lock, and it wins. And you just got to make the play. Jennifer Tilly with the straight has to call. Mike Mattis with the king high flush has to call. He has to call. You got the ace, you beat me. But if you're going to worry about it and he checks to you, then you shouldn't bet. You should just, you knew he had nothing, right? He checked and you made the $15,000 bet. So you know he doesn't have anything. But then he makes this bet and all of a sudden you think he's got something because of the bet. Even though when he checked, you thought he didn't have anything. But then if he doesn't have anything, you're betting $15K, hoping what? He's got a lower flush. Okay, then if he does, then what are you doing? And the bet was to get you out, not to call. So anyway, that's what we're doing. So keep an eye on gold and silver. Gold will hit 10,000 and silver will hit 500 on its way to 1,000. All these dollars are collapsing. They're printing money, makes it go to zero. Nobody wants the US dollar. They're all going to BRICS. They're all going to gold. The demand for gold and silver are huge, which should raise the price. Again, the COMEX paper, increasing the supply of phony money is bullshit. So all I can say is just be careful. You know what's happening, and you just want to just hold and buy as much gold and silver as you can. You got to get out of dollars before they collapse. Stock market will be collapsing soon. The banks are going to not let you get your money out. And if you do, it's not going to be worth anything. So the number one lesson is this is being printed to zero. So therefore, if you hold it, whatever, you could have 100 grand in the bank, it's not worth anything. Just because it's 100 grand doesn't mean it has value. Bitcoin was down to 65,000 yesterday, and doesn't mean it has value. Well, it's worth 65,000. Yeah, but that's not worth anything. Again, it's in dollars. And this is the part that everybody doesn't understand. Anything priced in dollars will be worthless. Your house, your car, your Bitcoin, your stocks, everything will be worthless. That's the key to it. So that's what you need to understand. All right, with that, I'm going to watch basketball, then I'm going to eat and go to the pool. My leg feels much better, so I can actually ride I haven't been able to ride the bike the last 3 days. I should be able to ride it today, but I'll be careful, and then I'll hit the pool. But anyway, then we got Michigan on later, so I'll watch that one. And Connecticut, I love Connecticut over Duke. All right. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. I will see you tomorrow. And we know what channel not to use and what channel to use. So I had no problem with Negrano's channel, that first one with Phil Ivey, and I actually had it on another channel I can probably use. All right. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. If you have any questions, comments, again, you can get my email on teaserking.com and send me an email. All right. Good luck. Take care. Have a nice day.